Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Waves of Thinking. My name is Alana Marmerstein. It is day 2 of IIEX, and I am joined by Andrew Embry. Would you like to introduce yourself, Andrew?
Hey, everybody. My name is Andrew Embry. I'm the Senior Director of Insights, Innovation, and Capabilities at Lilly. And basically, my job is to figure out what does the future of market research look like and how do we get there?
Yeah, and you gave such a fascinating presentation on how Lilly is taking AI and really putting it into action. There's always a lot of skepticism when it comes to AI. So, how did you turn that skepticism into enthusiasm? And what was the turning point for your team when you realized that, wow, we really rounded a corner and that changed?
So much skepticism. So much. And so during my talk yesterday, I kind of expressed this idea that market researchers are one of the hardest groups to introduce anything to, right? Because by nature, it is our job to be objectively skeptical. So one of the first things that we did is we leaned into that skepticism,
Hmm.
right? Like I told people like, yeah, you should be skeptical. We should treat this like any other methodology we use. We should understand that it has a role and a place, but it's not going to solve all of our problems, right? So that was kind of the first part of it.
Hmm.
The moment that really began to win everybody over, though, is we did some kind of proof of concepts and we had built these synthetic personas and we had asked them questions that we had asked real people. We had not given the synthetic personas all of the data that like normal real
Sure.
people would have, right? And we started to see that the synthetic personas were giving more or less the same answers as the real people.
Hmm.
And when people started seeing that come back in real time, and they were like, oh my gosh, like that's what I just heard in research last
Sure.
week. And they're like, oh, wait, can I ask this question? And then now everybody's like jumping in, asking their own questions to kind of prove this isn't staged, right? And question after question, they're like, oh my gosh, this is more or less the same thing. Might be framed a little bit differently, but it's like the same idea. And that's when people said, oh, there is something here. And then they were willing to explore.
That's wonderful. Yeah, so almost that one moment, that aha moment of,
Hmm.
wow, I actually see one true point of proof. Now I'm ready to explore further.
Exactly.
That's great. That's a really good piece of advice for anybody looking to adopt AI on their team. Similarly, you talked about really the impact of AI beyond the insights function. One thing that researchers are always talking about is getting a seat at the executive table. It's not anything new that we want, and it's not going to change in the future. But how did incorporating AI into your workflow, into your team, change how the executive table saw the efficacy of your team and how important you guys are?
Yeah, so we talked a little yesterday about how often researchers don't have the seat at the table because there's this idea that research is slow or it's cumbersome or it's just way too much work to do. So with our AI solution, with the personas that we built, and we built them based around like our target patients, our target segments that we were going after, based on our research, so hundreds and thousands of data points, so we could trust those things. That totally changes the speed equation.
Hmm.
So now all of a sudden, something that would take months, we can go into our system, ask and begin getting questions in seconds. So you do that the first time, and the executives are like, oh, that's kind of neat. You do it the second time, and you start answering the questions that they have, and they're like, oh, you're really on to something. By that point, it then begins turning into the executive saying, like, oh, I'm going to go grab him, bring
Hmm.
him into the room because we have this decision to make.
Right.
And so my entire presentation yesterday, I talked about this world where there's a big decision. The VP goes and grabs the insights professional, brings them in.
Hmm.
That's inspired by a real story. And so
Yeah.
friends reaching out to me and saying, oh man, hey, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, VP out of nowhere grabbed me, brought me in. It's like, hey, help us use your AI tool to like figure this stuff out.
Sure.
Making the decision right there in the moment on a Friday afternoon, executing by Monday.
That's wonderful. Yeah, the speed of turnaround and insights sounds like it really made a difference there for
It
you
did.
guys at Lilly. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story, Andrew. I think a lot of what you've shared is applicable to teams outside of just, in Lilly's industry and beyond. And I hope that we all learned something new. I sure did.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. This has been Ways of Thinking. We'll see you next time. Bye.